Ufuna ukwazi ube mnandi zonke izinto zibe manzi. Homie, don't worry. Hold up. No mgozi goes up in off. Dishing out the truth, so start tuning in. Can't tolagale. Come get skata ole wale. Social issues pitch so easily. Giving you the latest news so instantly. Gender we tighter. Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider.
Oh, yeah, you took me back. Welcome to Mzansi Insider. Thank you for that amazing performance. We'll give you a chance to get yourself together. You deserve it.
Awesome performance. Thank you so much for joining us.
takes it to the heart, man.
Unguwe ndiyazi uba ingoma emnandi ethandwa ngabantu bonke nami qoba nami mnikazi wengoma ndiyayithanda ithetha ngesithandwa sakho nami xa sendisifumene ndiyobe sendimxela ngohlobo uba ungazungandishiyi baby.
So isithandwa sakho awukakasifumani?
Nope.
Oh,
Still on the journey, but you're writing songs to lure them in. Now, just listening to your music and the type of style and genre of this particular single, who would you say are your biggest musical influences?
Ndingathi ndiyamthanda usisi zonke. Notata uSipho Mabuza kakhulu. Baninzi endibathanda kakhulu.
Yeah.
Kuyandigqibela nje ubabala ngoxa unothi ndibabale ngoku.
Okay, cool.
So ungathanda ukusebenza labo bantu?
Na as a musician, uZukiswa usebenza nabani na ufuna ukusebenza noZukiswa sibhusha ispan umsebenzi uyahamba. Akhetha ngibanga bani. Divulile nje umuntu ofuna ukusebenza. Damkela wonke umuntu.
Nice.
Okay. So
I'm just
like,
you need to be open-minded.
Open like, yo, man, anybody and everyone. Enkosi for you to join us this morning. That was a beautiful song coming through, a beautiful way to start the show. Hello, how you doing? You thought we were not coming, but we're here.
Why did they think we weren't coming?
I don't know, it just sounded nice. Why are you being technical about it?
Hi guys, welcome to the show. Here's what's coming up. How do you deal with being in a job that you hate?
I think you can learn everything in a job that you hate.
When you found out you do have breast cancer, what was your feeling?
It was my favorite one. You know you have a favorite one.
God bless you.
I had a favorite one.
Yes! Today's power person is the mastermind behind Tony and Grammy Award nominated Sarafina.
I knew it would be successful because by then everything that I had touched was successful.
Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider. You know what it is, Mzansi Insider.
Babangata barona di insiders tle ber qala mesebetsi e metjha e seng khale and ho seng kae tle ber feel or we feel stuck or maybe we hate our job or maybe it's even happening to you already. To help us unpack this is transformation manager Percival Utenka in studio ho tlo bua le rona hanyane ka tebena re bone hore e tla re fedisa kae le ka ndate re phetse hantle transformation manager e bolela ho eng?
My job involves, I look after BBE. I also look after employment equity, which is a huge part of our labor legislation.
Okay.
Which tries to remove any form of discrimination in the workplace. So it was a law in any form.
Okay, so lisebetsa haholo ka batho ba sebetsang in their workspaces.
Right, correct.
All right. Tsatsing la ka jeno re bua ka, you know, not feeling like this is the right place for you. And we're going to be speaking to someone a little bit later on who's feeling like that. Have you ever experienced that where you're in a job and you're like, yo, if I can just...
Unfortunately, I've had the misfortune to be in several of those jobs. I've had 10 jobs before I was even 35, so...
Jeez.
And I was trying to avoid being
We
stuck.
just judged you right now.
Yeah.
So now, how do you deal with being in a job that you hate besides quitting?
I think quitting is not an alternative sometimes. I mean, I had a boss, he had said something very profound. It's better to have a boss that is mean to you because from them you learn some things than to keep hopping. So now I've been privileged. I've had probably 3 bosses out of 10 or 4 bosses out of 10 that were good, but the bulk about later, I probably would not invite them to a braai. But I think you need to make a decision about the job in total. You probably hate an aspect of the role, not the whole thing. And you need to look at it, the situation, glass half full rather than glass half empty. I think you can learn everything in a job that you hate, and that'll prepare you for the next job.
So like I say every week, every case has its merits. So we have a caller on the line who's going to tell us about their story. Hey, Malebo, how you doing?
I'm doing good, and you?
Fantastic. Welcome to the show. So, when on Alibutata?
Yay.
What's that?
I'm in a job that I hate.
Okay.
Actually, I don't like the job. The boss micromanages us.
Okay.
And I don't like it.
All right.
It's a call center job.
Percival, we don't know Malibu.
Can I ask a different question, Malibu? Are you in an outbound or an inbound call center? Do you receive calls or do you make calls?
No, I receive calls.
So she's inbound.
Okay. Well, what is it about the job that you don't like? I mean, other than the fact that the manager micromanages it, are there any aspects of the job that you run down?
I feel like I'm not growing in my career because I'm so desperate. I just went to that job because it was the only opportunity coming by.
Yeah.
And also, the income is also not satisfactory. Like, I'm not satisfied with the income.
Okay, cool. When if you had any opportunity to work in any space, where would you be working?
I think I would be working, I don't know, in the corporate world. Like, I would have a chance to go to school. Thing is, I didn't have a chance to go to school to better my career. But then now that I only did the trick, it's the only job that came by as a good opportunity. So I think I would better my career by going to school.
Malebu, I hear something specific you're saying. You're saying that you never had the chance to get a degree, so therefore you don't feel that you could do better for yourself. Probably one of the things that I'm picking up from you is that you have some limiting beliefs that you're holding on to. And you think actually a degree could actually help advance your cause. I'm not saying it won't, but some of the things you need to be careful of in your thinking, you start to feel bad for yourself where you are, instead of actually seeing the job that you are in currently as an opportunity to go do something different. I.e. develop skills, maybe have a career plan for yourself, set some goals for yourself, and then begin to achieve those goals. It sounds like you're frustrated by your lack of not having a degree, by this manager, and if you add all those things, they start to couple and add up into a very unpleasant situation. So I'm suggesting that perhaps you start to maybe write some goals for yourself, some SMART goals, which means they're specific, you can measure them, you can achieve them, they're realistic, and they have a time bound. So, and coming to the issue of going back to school or studying, these days you don't really need a formal education. You need to identify the questions the area where you want to do well in. Corporate is a large space. What about corporate do you like? Do you like marketing? Do you like accounting? And then start to say, what are the skills I would need for that job? And maybe look not just the job you're looking for, maybe look 3 jobs ahead.
Nice.
And say, 3 jobs ahead, what are the skills I need? And then once you know what those skills are, then begin to put a plan and how you can get those skills. And sometimes getting skills isn't a formal approach, i.e. university. It could be short courses. It could be finding a place where you can practice those skills. So there are a number of options these days. I don't believe a degree will always give you the boost you want, but it can give you maybe some theoretical understanding. But I think you need to be careful that, first of all, that you don't limit your thinking to how you can achieve those goals. Write a plan down for yourself.
I like that. I like that. Malebu, is there things that you feel you can learn within the call center that can help you with whatever plans or goals you have?
Yes, I think marketing as well, because we talk to clients and we promote the company. I think one of the skills that I can grow from it is marketing skills.
One thing I've learned in being in corporate for a long time is that your attitude to how you start your day is very powerful. So if you keep saying to yourself that this is the worst job you can have, the neural parts, if I can maybe go from a neuralistic point of view, the association you have with your job is one that's making you depressed. So I think you need to see your job as an opportunity to get somewhere else. Yeah. So you must make a decision to say, I'm not going to let this situation undermine my ability to do my best job. I'm going to make a decision to enjoy this job. Yeah. The issue I'm hearing her say is she's not in the space that she wants to be in. And that's right in her control. So what you do is you own that. You decide to say, what are the things I can do day to day to improve myself? Because when you see this manager, it just adds to the frustration.
Okay. Malebu, before we let you go, I want to ask you this, maybe on her behalf. Is there any way that just to win the boss over?
That's actually a good strategy, but sometimes it doesn't work. There are some people in corporate that you can be nice. I had a situation, I had a boss, I was being nice to him. I tried to do the job as best as possible, but his nature, he believed that people were to be manipulated, managed, bossed around. He didn't believe in autonomy.
And don't be a boss's pet, Malebu.
Maybe have a conversation about what is it that you expect from me on a day-to-day basis, or where can I improve the way you're seeing me? And if you get that feedback, then you can then maybe start to tailor a plan around. It's called managing up. You start to begin to manage his expectations, and then you can start there. How am I doing this job? How can I improve? What do you expect me to do on an ongoing basis? And then use that to build a...
And I guess whatever his response is an opportunity for her to grow again.
Well, thank you so much, Malebu, for calling in. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All the best, my love.
Best of luck.
Bye.
All right. Thank you very much.
How does you being in an environment that you don't enjoy, especially with work where you spend most of your time, can affect you. How does it affect your health? Yeah.
So one of the interesting trends that we're seeing in terms of people who work is what we call stress-related disorders. And people who don't enjoy their jobs tend to take a lot more sick leave, tend to go to the doctor a lot more. It's because the way we work, and we spend 2/3 of our lives working. I mean, if you think about the average person begins to work at 20, retires at 63 or 60, you've spent 40 years of your life. So you're well invested. And where I see why people are going wrong is they're investing all their energy, all their passions in a job. But if you think about us, is we're very diverse. You know, we could do one job, but maybe we're passionate about painting, and we never explore the painting side. So how I dealt with my frustration is I stopped investing everything I had in my job. I stopped expecting my job to fulfill things which were not job related, but maybe they were purpose driven. It was my purpose. So I'm in a job, but I have a bigger purpose, and the purpose is bigger than the job. So what you have to be careful is not to invest such that you expect your job to give you the emotional, spiritual, and all those. You need to be careful. Explore your other talents.
Yeah.
So that then, if you're not at work, you can go do something that gives you pleasure.
Yeah. How unale outlet ya how unale purpose. I think it's a beautiful way to relieve that frustration that there is something that I'm doing that I enjoy doing. You know, you work with people like Kat, and you need. I love you, Kat. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Percival.
Thank you.
Masbuya, we speak to a survivor, and I got over it.
They just took parts of the breast, they took the lump out and basically the inside of it. But then usually they'd take the nipple with too.
Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider. You know what it is, Mzansi Insider.
When you think breast cancer, you think of older women. So this story changes everything. Take a look at this.
Julia Shabalala-Ngwane's journey with abnormalities in her breast began when she was 15 years old. That is when she got her first breast cancer scare, but instead was diagnosed with fibroadenoma. 9 years later, at the top of her career, breaking into the law industry, a lump that she found in her breast turned out to be breast cancer. She was only 24 years old. You came across a couple of abnormalities within your breasts growing up. Take us through that period leading to you actually finding out that you have breast cancer.
I actually had a very open relationship with my mom from a very early age. So when I started high school, you know, and you're going through puberty and things like that, she'd come back home with a pamphlet the one time and go, oh, at work, they're talking about breast cancer, and put it on the table. You know, so I'm that child that would just take the pamphlet and read it, and every now and then I'd start feeling around. And, you know, up until a point where I started feeling something, and I said to her, listen, I am feeling something in my breast. And she said, you know, just go to the doctor. So I went. When I got to the doctor, he was like, you're too young, you know, 15 years old. And he said to me, look, Julia, you're young. We don't want to operate on you, you know. It's nothing cancerous. Obviously, he took me for a sauna first.
Yes.
And he was like, it's nothing cancerous, gave me pills and said, go be on your way. Up until 9 years later, at 23, I had just graduated, was busy with my own life, doing my own thing. And I felt this thing, man, it just became more and more painful, you know, and I thought, okay, maybe it's that time, because he had said to me before, look, if it gets uncomfortable and painful, come back, you know, we'll do something about it. And I thought, maybe it's time to do something about it. I went to the doctor for something else, funny enough, and when I got there, I said to her, and it was a female, I was like, yay, it's a female, because my original doctor's male. So I was like, okay, maybe she'll understand. So I went there, and she said to me, look, girl, you're 23 years old. There's no way you could get breast cancer. You're so young. She didn't even feel around. She was just like, you know what, you're fine. You're straight. Be on your way. And at that point, I actually did have breast cancer. Wow. So she said, be on your way. And as it got increasingly painful, I thought to myself, I mean, a doctor told me I'm too young to have this thing. Yeah. I'm fine. You know what, it's just uncomfortable. We'll check it out later. And I carried on for 5 months. In the 5th month, I was purple, and I was like, okay, maybe not. I went back, and I went to a breast and bone density clinic. Yeah. And when I got there, this lady was feeling around, the radiologist, and she said to me, oh my gosh. But you know when they try to hide that expression? Like,
yeah, because they're not the people supposed to tell you.
Yeah. But she said to me, look, this Saturday, it was a Thursday, and she said, come back, and we're going to do a core biopsy.
Wow.
What is a core biopsy?
So core biopsy, they use a needle, basically. And they go into what would be the tumor. and they pull a sample that they take to the lab to go and test it, whether it's malignant or what the case is with it. So they took that, and I went home, studied, went to write my board exams. But just before I wrote my last one, I got a call, and I was like, I'm not answering, because I could tell that the number was the doctor's rooms. And I was like, it's fine, I'll speak to them afterwards. After that exam, I called them and they said, listen, come in tomorrow. And I thought, okay, why would you want me to come in? And then the next day I went in and I found out, okay, you've got breast cancer. And from there onwards, it was just a whirlwind of emotions, appointment after appointment. It doesn't stop. You're in a fertility clinic because you're young, and, you know, chemo obviously shuts down your ovaries. So there's process that needs to take place before you go on the chemo, so that, you know, if you should want to have kids one day, it's possible. So yeah, it was one of those things, and it was a very tough and emotional.
That's not exactly
journey.
what I'm thinking, like, Julia, listening to you, because mostly, and it's common amongst older people.
That's
so
what
you think
I expect.
People
and
already
that's
have
why
kids.
I'm so taken by it. Absolutely.
You know, they're done. You know, and when you think breast cancer, you think they're gonna move your breast, and you think, oh, guy, actually, guy. You know, now I'm like one boob down.
Another guy, and you're thinking, hey, guy's gonna leave. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I was with my boyfriend, who's now my husband. And so at that point I thought, ooh, this is another story, because it was such that I had to go for a mastectomy.
What is a mastectomy?
The mastectomy, I went for a skin sparing mastectomy. They just took parts of the breast, they took the lump out and basically the inside of it, but then usually they'd take the nipple with too. So they took parts of the nipple and they saved what they could, because for reconstruction purposes they were giving me that chance to say, okay, maybe later on, you know, because you're so young, we can try and just bring back, you know, your breast. So I did that, and then I went for radiation.
How was that emotionally?
It was my favorite one. You know, you have a favorite one.
God bless
I
you.
had a favorite one.
Yes, Booby and Bibi.
And I knew with this one.
Should I be here?
You need to learn, though.
You know, so I felt like, but this one is the one. You know, when you wear the Wonder Bra, it's the perkier.
It's the one
of the
that's
two.
like, yes.
So for me, I was shattered after the mastectomy.
Do you know what I want to understand, Julia? Because it's such a hectic thing, because we all know it. We speak about breast cancer all the time. And to be quite honest, the majority of the breast cancer survivors or people who do have breast cancer are older women. So when you found out that it's official, you do have breast cancer, what was your feeling?
I only realized, actually, that I was the young one when I went for chemo. And I looked around the room and I was like, yo, my mothers are all in here. Because all the women in there were twice my age, if not older.
Wow. And what's the vibe? Is it like a morbid environment? Is everyone like...
It's so morbid. So I got myself a wig and I started losing my hair. And I'd go to chemo, I'd do my makeup. I'd be like, I'm going to work. This is work for me, you know? So I'd dress up and I'd walk in there, but everybody's so sad and, you know, all of that. And people just don't understand you, because I had a friend of mine, when I started losing my hair, she cut hers, you know, in solidarity. So when we went to chemo, she loved herself with short hair. I hated myself with short hair. I was like, this look is not working for me. No, you know, so I was very quick on the weave. And she was just like, it's fine. I like the short hair, and we'd go to chemo together. And when we get there, we'd stand, because you first have to go for bloods. So we'd sit there waiting for bloods. And, you know, everybody's obviously into each other's emotions, because we all know why we're there. You know, it's a very sad environment. And the ladies would be like, I'm sorry, my darling, it's your turn. And she'd be like, no, it's not me, it's her. So it's those moments, those were very funny moments. You know, we used to make it our date days. We'd go for sandwiches at the hospital, and I just took from it the good of it, because I didn't want to have that cancer face. You know, I've got a bandana on, I don't have hair, my skin is doing things, because your skin will do things. It will dry, your nails will turn black, everything that you can think of. You know, cancer takes away so much of your life, and it had taken away so much of my life already. I was not about to give it my...
Let it all
go. And, you know, so I was just like, no, it can take a lot, but it can't take my spirit. And my spirit says, wake up, dress up, and go there. Keep slaying, you know. You're young, so slay. So I would slay in the chemo room, and till today, they're like, wait, right? You know, you didn't even... And people didn't understand. And it's not that I wasn't going through the pain. I was. You know, I went through the side effects. I was nauseous. I would sleep. Any scent you can think of would make me sick. I went through the motions, but I just felt like you've got one day where you can go somewhere. Yeah.
How was that emotionally?
First bath, when I got out of there and I looked and it was just not, it wasn't matching. The one is not there, the one is, I just broke down. I think that was the realization that, geez, I've lost a part of me, and a part of me that, you know, you take your breasts for granted. Yes, you like them, but you never really see yourself without one of them. No. You know? I just cried and sure, I think it's also part of the reason was my boyfriend was there, and you've got emotions of it's gone, so you've got your own internal struggle just with yourself. Yeah. And then you've got this ashamed almost, you know, you're there, now I'm not the same. Yes. And it was just an emotional thing for me to go through. I think that day for me was the one where I could say summed up most of my emotions when it came to my breast cancer diagnosis.
I think you had to face the reality.
Exactly.
How did you overcome?
Sure, it's very hard to accept your new body. I still go through those struggles now because after everything, obviously, you find your strength in terms of saying you're here, you've got to carry on, you've got to find things that make you happy, be it the fact that you've got a second chance at life, be it the fact that out of many other cancer, you know, people who had cancer, you survived, you know, all of those things. So it's almost like you've got to appreciate the new day that you've been given, but at the same time appreciate the fact that you're going into this new day a different person.
You got me. Like, I thought I was a bit nervous about this, like, because it's awkward, and you girls do this all the time, talking about your boobs. But you made me feel very comfortable because you gave it such a human face, and it made me realize that it can happen to anyone. It's close.
It can even happen to you.
Yes.
The male.
The males can get breast cancer too.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I think that's a topic for another day, something we can look into. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I believe it and I know it that people out there are inspired. Thank you to you listening, and I really do hope
Can you spot all my lies? Only when we come back.
How do you spot a liar?
We pay attention more to what people do than what they say.
You know what it is, Mzansi Insider.
All our fair to a standard procedure. It's time for relationship goals. Vandaag on relationship goals, we're speaking about how to spot a liar in a relationship. Sizoringa no Franch Hawaii Let's Live, where they do a whole lot of life coaching and about how you spot umuntu onamanga. Without any further ado, let's go meet him. Now, tell me a bit more about the work that you do, firstly.
Firstly, we are a life coaching institute, so we focus on business coaching, relationship coaching, scholar and student coaching. Also in training people how to become a lie detection and how to become a business coach and a coach.
All right. Face to face, at face value, how do you spot a liar?
When we do lie detection, you pay very little attention to what people say, because 90% of the time when they say it's rehearsed, so they don't know exactly what to say. We pay more attention to the body language and tonality. If we communicate with people, the impact of my message is actually just 7% words, 55% physiology, and then 38% tonality. So therefore we pay attention to 55% is physiology, 38% is tonality, and then 7% is words. We pay attention more to what people do than what they say.
Is there such a thing as a good liar?
I think we can always spot the lie. We're about 98% accurate to spot lies. It's always to look for the intention of the liar. Why do people lie?
Yes.
Because I believe that if you're a human being, you're lying constantly. So my passion is always to say, why do we want to discover the lie? Okay. What is the intention behind discovering the lie? In any conversation or if we chat, people lie constantly, and it's a good thing.
So are you in essence saying that some lies are good?
I would say almost 95% of the lies are good.
Wow.
We look at the intention. If the intention of the lie is not to harm people, I'm okay with it. The best way to detect a lie is always to get a baseline.
Okay.
So what you want to do with a baseline is just observe people. So you have to spend about 5 or 6 minutes with the person and see. The first baseline that we detect is the tonality.
Okay.
What is the natural voice tone that the person uses?
All right.
For instance, this is the way I'm talking. If you ask me a question now and all of a sudden I go, no, it wasn't me, then that pitch in my tonality indicates
Absolutely.
that there's some uncomfort.
Yes.
And that's just an indication. So when we detect lies, the reason why we say it's almost 98% accurate is we don't just look for one thing. But if in one conversation we pick up 2 or 3 or 4 things, then it's a definite,
Okay.
look, that person is definitely lying. Then on the way the people talk, like at the moment I'm talking a lot with my hands.
Yes.
So this is not an indication of lying or anything. It just means that my natural way, my baseline is talking with my hands. Now if you ask me a question and all of a sudden I do this, it's something to pay attention to. People that lie always fiddle with their clothes. They want to look honest.
Yeah.
In the good old days, we do NLP as well, and people used to look at the eyes and say if the eyes go to the top right, it's indication that people lie. That is a lie by itself.
Okay.
It just means that they're constructing sentences in their mind. They call it visual construct.
So what I'm gathering here, Francois, sorry there, is that there isn't like things that are set in stone. So we can't say that somebody who starts blinking a lot is automatically lying because it differs from person to person.
It differs from person to person. So take the blinking, for instance. If I talk to you and I don't blink, like for me, I'm not a big blinker. But if you ask me a question and all of a sudden I start blinking more and more and more, then it's something to pay attention to.
So it's the change in the person's gestures.
It's the change in the gestures, it's the change in the baseline. Yeah.
Okay.
But then there's certain giveaways, like for instance, if I do this, that's 90% a giveaway. And then something very interesting about the nose, if people lie, like intensive lie, they tend to do this. So this is for all the cultures across the globe.
So this goes across the board?
Across the board. And there's some other gestures that's also always there. It's like doing this.
Okay.
You will find that it could be also that there's just something on my ear, but you'll find 99% people don't have the habit of talking to people like this.
Okay. So I'm going to try. I'm going to give you a sentence and you're going to tell me if I'm lying or not. 7 years, I went to an academic school and I played rugby. I was injured, and the most difficult part for me was not to be able to play rugby ever again. But I fell in love with television and I regained my enjoyment of life.
What position did you play?
Wing, west wing.
Okay. For me, there were some truths and some lies in it, definitely in between. The giveaway, the 7 years to college, you definitely went to college. I'm not too sure whether it was for rugby or for something else, but I could definitely see there was some truth to it. Okay. The rugby part, I didn't believe 100%.
Why?
It's just for certain gestures that you gave away that I don't.
I also chose like rugby. How can I choose rugby when I'm so thin?
No, there's a lot of people that's thin. It's actually more like just now there, if you look at your hand at the moment, it definitely went to the ear.
I'm catching that bead of sweat that's dropping because I'm so nervous now.
It could be that, but also during the process, there was definite gestures. This is one of the giveaways. You will see that people that talk on TV a lot, if you don't believe what you say, you tend to do this. So when people say, is the market share going up? You would say, yes, it's going up, and they will do this, especially with one hand, a lot. Then there's another giveaway that happened twice with you during the conversation, is if people don't believe themselves, their shoulder tend to do this. So this is the shoulder shrug that we looked for. So there was a very few things. I think in your conversation there was a few truths. Like I said, the college part, you definitely went to some sort of college, but I don't think it was for rugby.
You're right.
And then also the interest in the television, I'm sure in your career there was something that happened before that prompted you to go into the television part as well. But for us, it's always more to get the truth. We always like to get the truth rather than just to spot the lies.
So the ultimate goal is not to just spot the lies, it's to find the truth.
For me, that's my passion, is not to just detect the lies, because now you're lying, what now? If we look at facial expressions, there's facial encoding systems that you have certain expressions in your face that can tell me whether you're lying or not, which is accurate and not so accurate, but it doesn't really matter. For me, I really want the truth.
Ultimately, I want to understand, what does being able to spot a liar do for you as an individual? Let's say in a relationship.
Oh, it depends what relationship.
A romantic relationship, for instance.
In a romantic relationship, I would leave it totally.
Okay, because you don't want to be a professional lie spotter.
And also, you're just going to be heartbroken all the time, especially if you date women. They tend to lie more than men, because women are much more polite than men.
Okay.
And people lie out of politeness. Like,
How do you live, Francois, as someone who can spot a liar? I mean, every day you're looking at people who are speaking to you and you can tell if this one's lying, you can tell if that one's being honest. How's life for you?
I think it's how's life for my employees more.
Oh, yes, because they can't even say, like, I was sick for the past 2 weeks, so I couldn't come home to work, and you're just like,
Yeah, I think
That's a lie.
Yeah, I think that for my employees, it's very tough to work for me because I immediately will detect a lie and then restructure my sentences so that you tell the truth. So my life is very peaceful. I put it aside and then just live life. But when I focus on lie detection, I focus on lie detection.
Wow, well, thank you so much for sharing with us. Now I'm able to spot all the liars out there. I'll be looking at the gestures and the changes in their voices. But right now it is a wrap from us. This is Relationship Goals. We out of here, baby. After the break, the legend behind Sarafina.
Did you think that it would be such a huge movement?
I knew it would be successful because by then everything that I had touched was successful.
Keep the channel locked on Mzansi Insider. You know what it is, Mzansi Insider.
Today's power person is a legend in the South African arts. Take a look at this.
Today's power person is the mastermind behind Tony and Grammy Award nominated Sarafina. He is Dr. Mbongeni Ngema. From small beginnings in KZN to being inducted in the New York Walk of Fame, an honor only given to the best artist of the century. He is, without question, the personification of power.
And he's here in the flesh, the legendary Dr. Mbongeni Ngema.
Yes, Kunjan Bab.
Siyaphila njani?
Thank you so much that you're joining us today. I don't even know how to behave. I feel like I need to sit up right because we're sitting with an absolute legend. You good, at the end of the show. Take us back to your childhood. Where did it all begin for you? Because we know you as the great Mbongeni Ngema, but when ukule kuphi, how was your upbringing?
Well, I grew up in Verulam near Durban, KwaZulu and Nhlwathi. At an early age, I picked up a guitar and started playing. Just watching my father play, I picked it up and the rest is history.
As a rural farm boy, bekuyini kahle kahle obuzenzela yona bozidlalela esiginci sakho uhleli and creating songs. When did it hit you ukuthi you actually want to create?
Well, it's sort of one of those things that happened by mistake. You know, at my early age, when I went to the city in Durban, I was playing in bands. And then at some point, a friend of mine who saw my composing talent asked me to write music for his play. I had never seen a play before.
Oh, wow.
I wrote the music and it interested me. Because I like telling stories, he said, well, we can write a play together. And then we wrote a play. Our first play was called Too Harsh. That was my late friend, Lucky Mavundla. And after that, I started enjoying plays. I was watching Gibson Cantor's plays, How Long, I Believe.
Yeah.
And then I watched Sizwe Banzi is Dead in the Island. And I said, this thing is very interesting.
Yeah.
Can I combine my music and theater? I thought, wow, it's fun.
Yeah.
Then I started doing it.
When did you realize you had the gift of spotting talent?
When my first international play was Woza Albert, and I was touring around the world. And I met a company in South America. It's called El Teatro Campesino. And there were a group of artists that were turning their lives into theater, and they had eventually built their own theater, and eventually they had created their own film company.
Oh, wow.
And that inspired me. I said to myself, when I go back home, because I know my people are very poor, but also they're very talented.
Yes.
I can help them come out of this misery by assisting them. Then I started creating my own company, Committed Artists. I started spotting talent way back in 1982.
You're known to be very strict on your cast and your productions. Is this true?
Well, I am. You know, discipline, that's where I start. When I assemble my cast, I tell them the rules of discipline. Because Otherwise, you are not going to come up with a very well-polished product if your cast or your company is not disciplined. So I am very strict.
Wow. Now, you've traveled the world, and usually when we travel, we go and we come back with everything that we left with. You left your name in Manhattan on the Walk of Fame because you have a star there. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, it's the Star Walk, like the Hollywood Star Walk, to recognize people that have become larger than life. And in this instance in Manhattan, New York City, is the people in the theater, the greatest theater people of the 21st century.
Wow.
Like Bertolt Brecht, among them many, and I'm one of them.
That's amazing. So do you wake up in the morning feeling like, oh, remember that star?
I am that guy. I am that guy. 21st century.
Because I would not forget.
It's not even like of a specific year. It's like of a specific era.
Yes, that's amazing.
But let's speak about Sarafina. Did you think that it would be such a huge movement just across SA, let alone across the world?
Yes.
Actually, I didn't. You know, I just got inspired and I wrote this story. I knew it would be successful because by then everything that I had touched was successful. But I did not imagine ukuthi ingaba successful to this magnitude. It actually superseded my imagination.
Yeah, because I think most of the times when people think of Sarafina, they always think like, oh, globally, it was a Broadway show and everybody. And I'm just thinking, I used to practice Sarafina.
It's something that's engraved in every African child.
Before social media, before things were easy.
And what's amazing is that it's not only African American.
Absolutely. That's Baba, as a veteran in acting, we're gonna single it down to that. I remember as Kansaka Gibson Kenton, the acting was very animated and dramatic, and I think we can make reference to that in Sarafina also. Look at the camera, smile for the camera. And today, we at a level where it's more internalized. What does this change mean?
You see, with the stage, the acting tends to be, especially when you're performing in school halls, church halls, Kavna cinemas, because there is no soundproof. You have to project more. So the acting is larger than life. Whereas when you act for television or film, the camera is right on your face, so everything has to be internalized.
I have a good question, Baba. Because you've seen the industry change and go through its phases. I mean, at some point, theater was big in South Africa, and at this point, not so much. What are your sentiments on the entertainment industry at this point?
I think theater has been overtaken by television mostly, because people can sit at the luxury of their homes and watch what would be plays then. Because before there was no television, people had to go to the theater. But I can tell you one thing, the world over, it's going to change in South Africa. In New York, in Los Angeles, in London, theater is the biggest thing, even though there's television. It has to do with the quality of plays that are being put in the theaters. When I put on my shows, it's full, wherever you go, anytime. Because people, they have this feeling, good, no, man, nakusasa ngaibuki television, but Mbongeni ngama play I can't miss.
I can't miss.
So I think it's a challenge to the young writers and directors in this country to produce quality theater.
I just want to know, if you were to maybe do like a Sarafina 2016 version, who would you cast? Apart from myself, because I'm already casted, right?
Right.
Who else would you cast? Just looking around.
I'm in the middle of auditioning, actually, as we speak. I've just finished auditioning in Durban and in Joburg, and I'm going for final auditions next month in Pretoria.
When?
We're still working on the date.
Yes.
Because Sarafina will open at the State Theatre in February next year, 2017.
Amazing.
And we will do another South African tour with the new cast of Sarafina.
So this girl said, we're going to audition for you. So what do you look for?
Look at his smile. Like, look at his smile. He's just like,
I want you to whisper and tell me the song that I can win you over with.
Okay.
Tell me though. I need the notes.
Da 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 da.
Okay, you're gonna start.
I'm not gonna start. You're gonna start because it was my idea.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have to do the same song to prove?
No.
No,
Okay,
do your
cool.
own thing.
No, but I actually wanted to do that song. So now, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy forever it is in heaven. Ha! Come on, I even had dance with Baba who took
Baba,
it.
you know what? Spare her. We
No!
know who the winner is.
Cool. Cool. Sorry.
I was emoting.
Oh my gosh.
I was
No, you were not
internalizing.
emoting. Baba
Because
said he
we're on
is looking
television.
for somebody who is committed to their craft. I sang, I danced, I gave dramatic
Fine, congratulations.
courses.
Baba, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute honor to have you on the
Yeah.
show. Thank you
I
for
think
spending
you're
some
such an
time with us.
inspiration, and we hope that we can be half the person you are as we grow up in our industry. Don't you want to like leave a legacy like him?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for. Thank you for just ooh, why are you laughing at me now? I can't.
Because not so talented anymore, are we? This is where we have to wrap up the show.
Oh, no, he didn't.
I might not be a good singer, but I am one good presenter. Join us again next week.
Join us again next week. Until next week. It's not a good presenter. Yes! Yes!